When moving through any scenario, the driver is managing time and distance. Time and distance is measured by using the car speedometer, which indicates speed measured in miles per hour. Miles per hour is a natural unit of reference that everyone is familiar with. But when moving in a vehicle, it's not the best reference for measuring time and distance. In an emergency scenario, the driver does not have a mile or an hour to make decisions. In an emergency, survival comes down to how much time do I have and how much distance do I have to avoid the problem. We need to start thinking of speed in a different way. When measuring time and distance, the term miles per hour is irrelevant. In an emergency, the problem must be solved in a time span measured in feet and in seconds. The professional driving instructor should have the ability to convert miles per hour to feet per second. Simply said, in a training environment, miles per hour is irrelevant. While conducting a driver training program, driving through a slalom, a lane change, or a backing up exercise does not take an hour, and the distance the student travels is not in miles. As an example, driving through a slalom course, the student does not have an hour to react between each cone. The time span is measured in seconds. The distance driven between each cone is not measured in miles, it's measured in feet. So it becomes obvious that we need to convert miles per hour to feet per second. Let's come up with a standard number. We get that by taking the 5,280 feet, which are in a mile, and the 3,600 seconds that are in an hour, and we divide them by each other. So, if we divide 5,280 feet by 3,600 seconds, we will get the number of 1.47. What does that tell us? For every mile per hour driven, the car moves 1.47 feet. If the vehicle is moving 10 miles an hour, it travels a distance of 14.7 feet. At 40 miles per hour times 1.47, that would be 58.8 feet per second. So driving at 40 miles per hour, the vehicle travels 58.8 feet in a second. From the previous slide, we found that driving 40 miles per hour, the vehicle will travel 58.8 feet in a second. So in 2 seconds, the vehicle will travel 117.6 feet, and in 3 seconds, the vehicle travels 176.4 feet. We got that in the 2 seconds by multiplying 2 by 58.8, and in the 3 seconds, we got that by multiplying 3 times 58.8. Just basically simple math. There is an easier way of converting miles per hour to feet per second. There's a simple math step that makes converting miles per hour to feet per second much easier. We can round off or change the number of 1.47 to 1.5. That is a legal mathematical move, not breaking any math laws. Let's look at 40 miles per hour. And instead of multiplying it by 1.47, we'll multiply the miles per hour by 1.5. But you don't actually have to multiply. The simple math trick you can do is you take the miles per hour, in this case 40, take half of 40, which is 20, add the 40 and the 20, and you'll get 60. So if a vehicle is moving 40 miles an hour, it travels 60 feet in a second. Let's up the speed to 60 miles per hour. Do the same thing. You take the miles per hour, which is 60, take half of it, which is 30, add the 60 and the 30, and that will give you 90 feet per second. So a vehicle moving at 60 miles per hour travels 90 feet in 1 second. Let's use some examples to see how we can use the conversion of miles per hour to feet per second. Example 1. Vehicle is traveling 60 miles per hour, or as we found out, that is 90 feet per second. Many studies that have been conducted mention that it takes 2.5 seconds to react to a problem. So if you're traveling 60 miles per hour or 90 feet in a second, how far do you move in 2.5 seconds? Well, since you're moving 90 feet in a second, you multiply 90 by 2.5 seconds. That would give you 225 feet. From example 1, what we get is if you were moving at 60 miles per hour or 90 feet per second and you drove into an emergency, you would travel 225 feet before you reacted. Same speed, 60 miles per hour, which is 90 feet per second. A scenario where you have to put the brakes on quickly. Studies have shown that it takes 0.75 seconds to get your foot from the gas pedal to the brake pedal. So the question is, how far would your vehicle travel just getting your foot from the gas pedal to the brake pedal? And the answer would be 67.5 feet. We got that number by multiplying the 90 feet per second that the vehicle is moving by 0.75 seconds. When doing so, we get the number again, 67.5 feet. Let's go over it one more time. Moving 60 miles per hour, 90 feet per second. Emergency pops up in front of you. Before you got your foot to the brake, you would travel 67.5 feet. Example 3. Same speed. Vehicles moving 60 miles per hour or 90 feet per second. This time, we're going to measure in tenths of seconds. Vehicle traveling 60 miles per hour, 90 feet per second. In a tenth of a second, the vehicle moves 9 feet. We got that by multiplying the 90 feet per second by a tenth of a second. Let's do one more. Same scenario. 60 miles per hour, 90 feet per second. Now the question is, how far do you travel in 0.2 of a second? Multiply 0.2 times 90 feet per second, and the answer would be 18 feet. Hence, at 60 miles per hour in 0.2 of a second, you travel 18 feet. Why 0.2 of a second? Because that's how long it takes you to blink your eye. So, mathematically, we can say that traveling 40 miles per hour in the blink of an eye, you travel 12 feet. We can also say that at 80 miles per hour, in the blink of an eye, you travel 24 feet. That concludes this demo. Thank you for taking the time to watch this.